Welcome to the Inevitable You podcast, where we give you practical tools, tips, and strategies for upgrading all aspects of your life. I'm your host, Brian Hemmer, and in each episode, I'll be going into key topics of personal development, the latest in science and psychology on how your mind works, and the best of the best out there in personal transformation, technology, and tools. So, when you think about the results of your life, it really boils down to three things: how you think, how you feel, and then the actions that you take or don't take. Instead of trying to do more or do less, we're getting deep into your psychology to understand how you operate, to think differently, to feel differently, and more empowering emotions to drive new, different actions to create the results that you're looking for. So, I hope you get a ton of value. If you like what you hear, please give our episode a like or a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel for updates. And if you think someone could benefit from this, please share it with them. It'd be much appreciated. And you can always visit our website, the inevitableyou.com, for more resources. You can even sign up for a free coaching session there. Connect with us on Instagram at the Inevitable You. Would love to hear from you. I'm always fielding questions from our community here, so please would love to interact with you. Again, hope you enjoy and hope to hear from you soon. All right, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, man.
How are you?
Doing well. And yourself?
Excited to begin a new year. This typically at the end of the year, I find myself, I think we talked about this last time, like somewhat depressed,
Yeah.
Looking at the emotionalizing all the things that didn't happen or the things that went wrong, and not depressed, but just it's typically been like a lower emotional state for me. But this year was different because got a lot of exciting things on the horizon for the new year, and just excited to start a new year. So one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about recently, and really it was like over the course of 2023, I feel like one of the lessons that I was learning was around this concept of falling in love with the process. And I'm not exactly sure where I heard that. I think I've heard it from a few different sources, or could have been an athlete. But this idea of like not focusing so much on the outcome or the results and falling in love with the process, the steps to the plan, the actions that get you to the result. And I think, I just speaking from personal experience, like I found myself get discouraged a lot of times or give up on goals because I was so focused on the result. And if I'm not, there yet, or I'm not making progress, that, again, I get discouraged or I give up. And, within this idea of like falling in love with the process is being consistent with the things that I know are required or necessary to get me to the thing, right? And so just wanted to riff on that a little bit with you. And I know you could probably draw from experience and your recent training adventures, but is that making sense, the whole falling in love with the process idea?
Yeah, it's funny, and I do remember you, over this last year bringing up like some bits and pieces from like Huberman Lab and how dopamine works, and how it's like falling in love, like doing the process is more important, and if you can focus on getting joy out of the process, then it kind of shifts that dopamine pathway to like give you more hits when you're in
Right,
the process versus, you know, the result has to be what brings me joy. Um,
right,
but man, and we, so true wisdom is usually really simple and pretty damn universal. And you hear the message from so many different areas in so many different ways, packaged differently, from neuroscience, from athletes, from high performers, from all of these different areas. And it's the most cliche simple thing, but it's like it's all about the journey, not the destination.
right.
But also with wisdom, like it's frustratingly simple, and once you like get it, it's just mind-blowingly, amazing. And I think this is absolutely the case for this topic in general.
Yeah. And one of the reasons I'm also thinking a lot about it is, again, for the listeners and, for ourselves, and just thinking about the New Year resolutions or setting goals in general, right? Like it can be so easy to fixate on that end goal and here's what I want to be by June 1st or the end of 2024, and like fixate on that, but lose sight of, okay, well, what are the actual steps, or in the vernacular you like to use, who do you have to be, right, in order to have those things? And so, just again with like, now that a new year's starting and you have created new goals, and now what do we have to truly focus on to sustain movement forward or sustain a trajectory upward? And I just really like this idea of like falling in love with the process, because like if you can feel good at the end of the day that, okay, maybe you haven't quite made it there yet, that end goal, but like celebrate the fact that you actually did the things, the just the little steps, right? Or um maybe using another cliche like 1% better, or like you can check off the boxes like, wow, yeah, I did what I actually said I was going to do, and feel awesome about that and trust that it is going to get you to that place. And then I think the other thing that comes with it is like, okay, maybe like a month down the road, you're following the process and you're checking all the boxes, but then you check in and you review and you say, huh, I'm not quite as, far along or as close to this thing as I thought. Is the process right? Do I have to tweak some things? Do I have to make some in-flight corrections? Right? Like if you put in your GPS, you're a pilot, I'm flying from San Francisco to New York, and there's a storm, in your way, or winds throw you off track, or whatever the case is, right? Like you have to make those in-flight corrections a lot of the times, right? Generally, I mean, most of the time, a flight isn't going to follow the exact path that was outlined for them on the GPS. They have to modify. So, like, I think, again, getting so like focus on that process and then seeing how well is it working, but being unattached to the outcome is where you can now continually improve. And maybe there's a different strategy or different trajectory that comes along the way that could get you there sooner, or whatever. So again, just another thing that I find interesting. It feels like we talked about this in one of our last ones, the law of detachment, right? Like detaching from the outcome and focusing on your swing, right? The golf swing,
Right.
and not the outcome of the golf shot.
Again, you find this in so many different places. It's said differently, it's pitched differently, it's packaged a little differently. But yeah, it's the same. Like if you think about why do you want the result anyway, right?
Mhm.
Like let's say it's losing weight, right? Like I want to
Yeah.
lose 10 pounds. Well, the reason you want to lose 10 pounds, sure, you could do the 7 levels of why and get down to like, well, because I want to be healthy for my kids and all of that. But it's like ultimately because you want to feel good, right?
Mhm.
If I lose 10 pounds, I think I'm going to feel good, right? Okay. So now I'm going to be miserable through the whole process. But then once the 10 pounds are gone, then I'm going to flick the switch and I'm going to feel good.
Right.
Right. I'm going to practice being really miserable, doing all the things I need to do to be the person who's 10 pounds lighter. Right. And then once I'm there, then I'm going to be happy. Right. This is like we do this in our whole, like,
Yeah.
in every area.
Yeah.
Once I get the job, once I get the car, once I get the relationship, once I get the thing, then I'll be happy.
Mhm.
And where we get that wrong is now we're hyper focused on that result. We
Mhm.
think the result is going to be the mechanism of change. And why typically we don't hold on to that result, why do you gain the 10 pounds back and then some, is because the whole step of the way you were being the same person who's miserable about having to do the things to get the result. So you
Right.
get the result, you practice being miserable the whole time, but you haven't changed who you are. You've just
Mhm.
done different things and you're still old you, right?
Right.
Who is the 10 pounds heavier.
Right.
So now if we reverse this and we look at it and we're like, who would I have to be someone who is 10 pounds lighter, right? Or the what I brought up last time of like, I want to be the adventurer, right? Well, the adventurer wakes up at 1 in the morning to start climbing a mountain, even though they've only had 5 hours of sleep.
Mhm.
Hopefully, at least 5 hours. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But usually it's like 2 or 3 interrupted, crappy hours of sleep. But the adventurer doesn't care, right? I'm an adventurer. This is what I do, right? That little obstacle is not going to stop me, you know.
Yeah.
And when you can start being that person, let's bring it back to this 10 pound, weight
Yeah.
loss thing. I am the person who is my ideal body weight, right? What would that feel like? What would that be like? Oh man, it would feel great. Well, yeah, it feels
Yeah.
great. And you'd have to work out every day.
And you would
But
love working out.
but you
It
would
would be like
love,
you
right?
love moving your body. You love eating healthy.
Exactly. Exactly. And now you're practicing that, which one, you're, you know, from the neurological perspective of dope, now you're reinforcing that behavior because now you're energizing the good feeling emotion around doing the behavior that
Yeah.
will get you the result, right? Typically along the way, um, you'll find even better paths. You'll
Yeah.
dive deeper. Like instead of, sometimes it is avoiding the storm, but other times, like for me, for this instance, I'm going on this trip at the end of January, and I was trying to lose 10 pounds or 11 pounds total prior to this trip. But through Thanksgiving, through Christmas, through New Year's,
Yeah.
and in the past, it was always like this story about, oh, how difficult that is. And oh, that's terrible. And I'm going to miss out on this and miss out on that. But instead, I was like, who do I want to be? I'm like, this is a gift to my future self, right? So I'm going to
Yeah.
be the person who does the things. No,
You're the
I don't.
dude climbing Mount Kilimanjaro right today.
Yeah, right. And so that dude would pass up the alcohol. That dude or would only have one drink, right? That
Yeah.
dude would stay hydrated. That dude would, eat more protein in his day. That dude would like, and it was enjoyable. And I didn't feel at all like I was missing out. And I woke up the next day feeling great and ready to go. And
Yeah.
and if I did hiccup, it was small and it was, intentional, and I wasn't beating myself up over it. So yeah,
Right.
I think there's huge possibility um, when you focus in that area.
Yeah. And here's the like ironic thing or interesting thing is when you are doing those things and you do fall in love with them, like guess what? If you're after the first day, most likely, maybe second day, but pretty early on, you're going to start feeling better when you're eating healthier, you're working out, like your body's going to feel better. And then that's just reinforces, right? Like every day you're acknowledging, oh my God, I actually do feel better. And yeah, okay, that maybe the weight's not falling off, or because typically it'll probably fall off quicker early on. But when you get to that last part of it, those last few pounds or whatever it is, and it's really tricky and it becomes, right, like harder to lose it, you've already fallen in love with the way you have to be now to not just lose the 10 pounds, but to sustain it and now be that person moving forward instead of like you touched on it. As I like to joke, it's the I have a nightmare. I have a nightmare. I can't do this. I just want a piece of chocolate cake and it's so early. I can't get to the gym and I hate this. No, it's like this is awesome. This feels amazing. I love doing this. I love being this person. It's all just a really a mindset shift. It's just a change in the thought process around it. So
Yeah,
then there was oh, go ahead. I had
and I
another
was
point,
gonna,
but I forgot it.
and I was gonna say, to your, I'll give you an example of that exact thing. I started out. I was at 209 pounds. My goal was 198 by the time of the trip. It's been the first 3 weeks actually were the hardest because nothing was changing. I was making a lot of changes, but nothing seemed to be moving on the scale. Um, and that's also something that can happen depending on what strategy you choose. Sometimes it falls off really fast, sometimes it doesn't fall off.
Mhm.
And for me, it was not falling off. But then understanding it's like, look, it's been 2 weeks, it's been 2.5 weeks, you know, just keep trusting. Like I did the math on what I need to be hitting. I was tracking properly. I was doing all the right things. And yeah, 2 days later, like 3 pounds just dropped off out of nowhere. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh, okay, cool. It is working. And then it was like essentially 1 pound a week this whole time. Well, right before New Year's, I was 3 weeks out from the trip. I stalled out at like 202 pounds. Like I was just there and kind of stalled. And I'm still there right now. I have
Mhm.
10 days before the trip. Um, and I did have these moments of like, yep, see, I can never get past this. This is always the hard part. Like, might as well, it's not working. So like, might as well just enjoy New Year's. And in the nutrition and fitness body transformation world, one of the things we talk about is like having that mindset is like getting a flat tire and then saying, might as well slash the other three,
Yeah,
right?
right.
It's like, no, no, no. Like you still do feel better, right? Yes, I do. You still did lose, 7 pounds. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
you still are training towards this goal, right? Yes. Like if you don't lose the weight before the trip, would it be better to still have trained and eat well and done all the things for the next 10 days prior to the trip, or to just say fuck it and go off the rails for the next
Yeah.
10 days before the trip? Right?
Right.
Like regardless of the outcome,
Yeah, yeah.
taking care of myself for 10 days or not, right?
Yeah.
It seems so logical when you put it that way, but it's so tough because like old you is there with all the negative comments, with all the, see, I knew you couldn't do it. It's
Yeah.
hard. Look at what you're giving up. You failed. So
Yeah.
definitely can be difficult in those moments.
Yeah. And that was the other point I was going to make. Like, that's the consequence of fixating on the outcome, the end goal, because we're like, there's a sense of lack, right? Like you look at it, I'm not there yet. I'm not going to make it. I can't do that. Like all those thoughts that you just mentioned come in
Mhm.
versus no, actually, I've been training really good. I've been like, I'm preparing myself for that. That's really what you're after. It's not necessarily about the
Right.
number on the scale. It's, do you feel physically, you know, good? Like, do you feel physically able to now and better than you were and prepared to climb a, volcano? Or
Right.
is it a volcano? No, Mount
Yeah.
Kilimanjaro, right?
No, no,
Yeah.
no. It's a Pico de Orizaba. It is the third largest peak in the North America.
Uh-huh.
It's one of the top 10 highest volcanoes in the world.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, yeah, it's like, and this even goes back to our discussions around having an exploratory kind of perspective on your goals versus I have to hit this weight or lose this amount of pounds by this date. It's like, no, how um what's the word I'm looking for? Vital. I'm looking for vitality, but like how much can I explore this? How vital can I be? How strong can I be? How, trained and conditioned can I be? It's like that really doesn't have an end, but I mean, to your, example, you have yeah, I know I got to climb this thing on January 11th. And
Sure.
so but like, how far can I go? How much can I push it in within reason, right? Like, you're not going
And
to overtrain. You're not going to like
and
destroy your body.
think of this, right? So this is one small goal. It's a huge goal, right? In
Hmm.
terms of climbing this 18,000 foot mountain, right? but it's one goal in the life that is my life.
Yeah.
And if I want to be an adventurer, if I wanted to be someone who adventure is one of my core values, it's a data point along the way, right? Like it seems like it's a huge goal. It seems like it's an end point, but it's not. It's a
Right.
milestone, right? So it's
Right.
like we always talk about fitness being a lifestyle. We talk about diet being a lifestyle. But people don't get it when you say lifestyle and they still think 6-week challenge. They still
Mhm.
think 21-day reset. They still think it's like,
Yeah.
no, lifestyle. Like it's just how you do life now.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
you don't stop working out once you hit your weight, your goal weight or your goal aesthetic. It's like you work out to feel good. Maybe in the short term it's to get that aesthetic, maybe in the short term it's to get that, but like ultimately you want to feel good, you want to have longevity, you want to do your life powerfully. And the way to do that, like I'm not looking to for my life to end after I hit this goal. Right? like
Yeah. Yeah.
like I hopefully have another 50 years plus.
Right. Awesome, man. Well, good good luck. I know you don't need it, but it sounds like an awesome trip. Excited
Always.
for you.
My daughter came
Hello.
to say hi.
How are you?
Logan.
Huh?
This is Logan. Do
I know.
And
How are you?
I
Do you
brought
remember me?
you remember Brian?
Kinda. Check
Yeah.
this out, Logan.
Oh, look what he has.
Dog.
Yeah.
This
You
is
know what that
Poppy.
Hi.
is? Yeah. All right. I'll talk to you in like 5 minutes, okay? Love you.
So yeah, fall in love with the process, focus on the task at hand, moment to moment, be present. Don't fixate so much on the end goal. Be excited about it, but um, be more excited about who you have to be and the process you're putting in place for yourself.
One more example I want to throw
Yeah, yeah.
out along the mountain theme. So, people typically, there's a lot of reasons to climb mountains, right? But when you think of getting to the summit, you think of getting to the top, accomplishment, and the view, right? Oh, you do
Uh-huh.
it for the view, you do it for the accomplishment. Well, there's a lot of screensavers that you can look at that are viewpoints from the summits of mountains. And you see those and you're like, oh, that's really pretty. And that's kind of all you get, right?
Yeah,
If we were to be magically whisked away to the top of the summit right now, like it would be beautiful, but you'd probably forget it pretty quickly,
yeah,
right? What makes it awesome is the achievement, is the
yeah.
work that was put in to get there,
Right.
right? Like we all think, hey, if you have $1 million today, your life's going to be better. You might enjoy the next few months for sure. I'm not going to say you won't. Um, but what really makes it is the building of it, the unfolding, the process, the all of that. So
Mhm.
yeah, just to kind of hammer home, everything you've been saying, it, when you just look at it a little bit different perspective, the process is the fun part.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I can remember driving to the top of like Pikes Peak, for example, or taking the train, right? Like it's beautiful, it's cool, but like hiking another 14er, it's the feeling of it is so much more satisfactory and fulfillment. And because yeah, you know, like yeah, I busted my ass, I worked hard for this, and hey, now you get to sit and enjoy a view and maybe have a nice beer at the top and a snack, and
Right.
yeah, incredible experience. Cool. Well, I appreciate it as always. Yeah, best of luck to everyone with their 2024 resolutions and goals.
Cool. Thanks, Brian.
All right, hope you enjoyed that content. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments or feel free to shoot us a direct message on Instagram. You can find all of our links in the description. If you feel like you got some value, please consider giving our episode here a like or a thumbs up. Share with your friends and family, and subscribe to our channel so you can stay up to date on all of our latest content. And so thanks for watching or listening, and hope you're having an amazing day.